Hello and welcome back to Mellohi, a Dream SMP podcast. This is episode 65 and today we'll be discussing upcoming lore and Hermitcraft core servers. We're back!
We have no idea what we're talking about.
Yes, no idea. We thought about doing maybe a Rambo episode, but we'd have to make a list of stuff we wanted to talk about to do that first.
I mean, not necessarily. I can come up with a few things.
Well, that's kind of the convenient way to do
That's
that, because then we can get all the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And have something to follow, because otherwise we just end up talking about one specific thing for the entire episode.
More
theoretically,
or less.
I could
be
talk
complaining
about Rambo,
getting absolutely zero Ender Smile content from him.
We did have that one Ender Smile crumb where he mistook a Mexican dream for dream.
I know, but it's the more crumbs we get, the more we long for the thing we cannot have.
It's been drip fed to us.
I know. Dude, it's been it's been a year and a half since the last time we got
the
proper
inciting
Ender
incident
Walk lore.
of Dream SMP Season 2 is going to be Ender Smile being revealed to be canon, and the sheer shock of that finally happening is what resets the server, or whatever they're going to end up doing.
Yes.
With the server setting off Season 2.
Yo, that'd be amazing. I would love that, honestly. Genuinely, that would be so much fun. Ugh. In other news...
Do we
apparently
have any
there's-
news?
Oh,
Wait, no, we heard
dang.
something about Ponk, didn't we?
Yeah,
Wasn't
Punk
Ponk
was
has
meant
said
to,
that they're
Punk
working
with
on
someone.
lore.
Record with
And they're
someone.
going to do a two-parter. I'm really hoping that it's lore with character Sam.
I'm
That would be
hoping,
fun.
but it wasn't specified which lore it was with. Just a certain someone Punk is doing
Yeah.
lore with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, part of me is hoping, that little faked bit of dialogue someone put up on Twitter? That's this is what I think they should talk about when they confront each other.
I don't think I've seen that.
I haven't seen it, but yes.
I hope they just use that. That would be fun.
Just steal it from the fan.
But
Repeat it
I'm also
verbatim.
going with the plan of just pretending that it's canon so much that the content creators just gaslight the content creators into believing that they actually did it and just forgot.
With early lore, that's actually possible, and...
Eric's chat just gaslights Eric all the time over what happens in the early
True.
lore.
Well,
It's
Eric gaslights chat and chat
Gaslights
gaslights Eric.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
It's
It's a vicious cycle.
I don't even want to call it
Let me see if I can find
gaslighting,
it.
but yeah, no, there's a
No,
lot of
I've-
factoids there that
there
are
are
just not
people
accurate, and the chat is not
Eric's-
helpful.
No, but there are people in Eric's chat who have purposely used saying misinformation.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I've seen somewhere I don't know if it was on in the Dribbler Discord or on Tumblr post somewhere, but someone admitted to purposely spreading misinformation in Eric's
Okay, I
chat.
found it.
That's just not...
So
Nice.
by tip_tups on Twitter, it's just a little fake script. Sam, he did it as a show of power, he said. To tell people not to fuck with him. That's what he said. And then he killed me. Punk. So, what you did to me, Sam? What? Punk. My arm. You wanted that motherfucking keycard and you took my arm. A keycard that didn't even work. All because you wanted to show that you had control. That you were the one in power. Laughs. Then your prison still failed, didn't it? Sam, that's Punk. But remember this, Sam. Remember this. Dream hates you. You know he does. You loved me.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of... Listen, man, I just want Pong to have the ability to go off on Sam just once, you know?
Yeah.
I think he deserves it.
But honestly, props to the person who wrote that. Wait, what are the pronouns on the check?
I just think
I've gotta go find it again.
that... I just think there are certain characters on the server who deserve to, give someone else specific a bit of a dressing down, I think Tommy should get to give Dream a dressing down. I think Ponk should give Sam a dressing down. I think Nikki should get to give Wilbur a dressing down. I think Slimesicle got his dressing down of Quackity, and it was
Which is
amazing.
so nice. That was so nice.
Good for him.
Okay, yeah, so the person that wrote that, actually, I think she got it, on point, because that really feels like there's a reason people thought it was real, and that just kind of feels like the characters.
Yeah.
Punk drops.
I can
And
see that
especially
being-
the pointing out that like how Dream acted towards Sam with the Daedalus arc is so similar to how Sam acted towards Punk, but like a key difference
Is
is
the
that
motivations.
well, the key difference like in the script is that Sam loved Punk, Dream hates Sam.
Yeah. I think that would be fun.
And it's
That would be really cool if they actually do that, because that's just like a few lines of dialogue. So like, what would be surrounding that? Like, what's the
What's the
that's the meat,
context?
what's the bread? Yeah.
I don't know. The two
I
of
think
them
that
run
would-
into each
And
other
like
a lot.
I could
so.
see that being like a moment where Sam like finally realizes like his hypocrisy.
I mean, wasn't Punk just saying the other day in a stream with Aaron and Amesy, I think, that he wants to go and kill Sam or get revenge on Sam? That seems like a good lead up to
Yo.
that, but I don't know. I was trying to think of what other characters I want to like have an interaction.
Someone should give
I
Tommy a dressing
still-
down.
I mean, yeah, but who's really? I don't feel like. I mean, the only person I think who would have the right to do that at this point and has the type of relationship right now where that would be impactful is Jack Manifold. And Tommy
And
has
he's
never
tried.
listened to
He's
Jack
tried.
Manifold. So, like, I don't. I
Jack
think.
Manifold deserves to have a big moment.
Yeah.
Like, he should do something that makes it into like a big animatic.
I
Dude,
think.
Like, are we all just forgetting about the fact that he tried to do that? He tried to express what was making him so upset, what Tom was doing to making him so upset to want that to blow up the hotel. And then you know what Tommy did? He made it about exile.
No, I
He did
know.
go
That's
through.
what I'm saying. I was like, I think Jack is the only one, in my opinion at least, who has the type of relationship that hasn't already been somewhat repaired with Tommy for that. Like, I can't think of anybody else on the server that Tommy really owes an apology to that he hasn't already sort of made up with. Like, if it was back towards, like, New Manberg, I'd say, yeah, him and Tubbo probably need to have, like, a talk it out. But right now, like, I don't think that they have that kind of issues. I think their relationship just got, like, more distant. Literally the only one I can think of right now, character-wise, who could really, like, that Tommy has absolutely just, like, fucked up the life of,
Is Jack.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else that he has had such a direct, like, former friendship with that he obliterated or has, like, done something so wrong to without already getting some kind of recompense for it. Like,
Yeah. But the problem is that even if Jack goes off, Tommy doesn't care.
yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I think Jack is the only one who could give Tommy, like, that dressing down, but Tommy, as we've already seen multiple times, won't listen to Jack.
He just doesn't
So-
care about Jack as a friend or as a person.
It is curious, though, to consider, like, who I think could get through to Tommy, because I don't think... I mean, maybe Wilbur would have been able to, but I don't know
think
about
Tubbo-
that. Maybe
But
Tubbo,
not really
but I don't
the-
think Tubbo
the
would do
relationship
that.
Position. Yeah.
I think Tubbo feels too guilty about their relationship from before getting fucked up, so I don't think that happened. Maybe Phil, but I don't think Phil's as good at giving his advice as he tries to be. Like, he gives, like, good advice, but it doesn't really work for the situations that Tommy is in, and Tommy doesn't,
But
like,
also
really
also,
take
like,
it to heart in a way that makes it, like, the meaning get across, I think, as effectively.
But you also have to consider that Phil, one, is a little too nice to Tommy, and two, and Wilbur, and two, Phil hasn't been wronged by Tommy the way people like Jack and people.
No,
like Jack
I
have
don't
been
think
wronged.
Phil could give Tommy the dressing down. I mean, I guess I'm considering change in, like, two different ways. Obviously, there's the way of, like, just being confronted with how much of an asshole you were, that you were like, oh, wow, this actually hits deep. I understand. I can reflect on what I've done from what you're telling me. Like, there's that kind of dressing down, and then there's more of the sort of wise mentorship, like the kinder approach of being like, listen, you respect me as an authority figure, so when I tell you this, you're going to listen to me, and I'm not going to do it in a way that's meant to hurt you. And I still don't think that Tommy quite listen. I don't think Phil is quite, like, aware enough of the actual, like, situation.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tommy can, and I think that sort of gap in knowledge means that Tommy can't really get a meaningful lesson out of what Phil tells him. I think Wilbur could to some extent, but that's because Wilbur and Phil had a much more, deep bond than, like, Tommy and Phil does.
Yeah. But I also think that, what was I thinking? I lose my train of thought so easily. I also think that for it to, like, really... Well, this is my personal preference. I kind of want someone to yell at Tommy. And I kind of want Tommy to actually understand that they are yelling at him and actually, like... I want that yelling to actually affect him in some way. Because I feel like that's the only way it's going to change. And as a result, I think that if you were to get a talking down to that was gentler, as a mentorship type, he would not take it to heart.
Yeah.
I don't think he would take anything but something extreme and direct to heart. So
yeah, that's kind of the issue I think I'm also seeing.
And it has to be from someone he cares the opinion for. So, I'm sorry, Jack. You got the right type of dressing down, but you have the wrong type. You were the wrong person to give it to, for him to actually take it as meaningful.
Actually, this brings up actually a good thing I wanted to mention. That Aaron is working on their final lore.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
So we know it's canon that they're old friends. So.
Yo.
That's true.
But they haven't interacted
I don't think...
on the Dream SMP much. So...
And even then, I don't think... I'm just getting the impression that Aaron is not the type who will,
he's a little bit of
give that dressing down. He's a little too much like Punk in the sense that, like...
It might not necessarily be dressing down. I'm more like saying, like, to tell me, like, oh, you've changed from, like, how you were when we used to know each other. Essentially.
I think the most...
Not like talking about specific events, but more just like a change in attitude.
I think the most effective way for Tommy to sort of like go, oh shit, at his own actions is for if he does something to hurt someone he cares about. Because like we got that moment in the Wilbur lore when he hurt Wilbur when Wilbur said he wanted to leave. And we see that he's like, oh, he's actually reflecting on his actions. Huh. But, it was in a moment where he's like, where he does something and he hurts someone, and he realizes that he hurts someone, but it's also a very explicit, like, hitting someone with a sword is a very explicit way of hurting someone. Hurting someone with your words is much more, I want to say subtle, like, you don't often realize that what you say can hurt other people. And I think that's also part of, I don't know, it's weird. Because, like, it's very easy to say, oh, I hit you with a sword, I hurt you, that was wrong of me, I shouldn't have done that, I will reflect on my actions and why I did that. So I can not do it in the future, versus I explicitly ignore your presence in everything we do, and say that's hurtful for the person who's experiencing that, and it's, I don't know, I'm talking in circles here. I'm so sorry. Just rambling right now.
I don't know. I agree with you, I think, in the fact that I don't think there's anyone currently on the server who can get through to Tommy, regardless of the method. I just don't think that I don't think there's anyone. I think the only one who might have been able to is Wilbur, and he's gone.
To Utah.
Fucking Utah.
Also, MZ posted some photos on their private cosplaying as their character with the message "next week" and a smile.
Oh yeah, I remember
God.
That could just mean they're doing a cosplay stream, or it could mean lore, or maybe it's lore with Aaron. Who knows?
I hate it when they do this to us. Were we supposed to get lore this week?
I mean, we're supposed to get lore someday.
Were we supposed to? Wasn't season 1 supposed to end before September?
No, not necessarily. I think it's supposed to end sometime in September.
They didn't. They
was
had it originally
the
that season
statement.
2 would start September 1st, and then
Oh.
Eric did
And
lore.
also Irish is planning lore as well. That was meant to be last week, but got pushed back.
Listen, I'm just resolved to the idea that we're never gonna truly know when season 2 starts.
Oh, don't
I'm
forget
sure
DNF
they've got
meetup.
plans.
It's probably gonna start, and we're only gonna realize it started like a week ago or something.
Yeah, we're not gonna know the session of. But to be
The only-
fair, I think the CCs have been a little busy.
Only
We
has
know
been, like,
George is
promised
getting
to us
prepared to
and we
move
talked-
to America.
Isn't he in a hotel room right now?
I don't think so. He's in.
I saw
No?
it. There was a TikTok of him in a hotel room.
Oh, well, maybe, but that's because he was at a charity event where he played soccer with Carl
And he
in
might be doing the thing
Oh,
the
where
UK.
like you only release the video after you've left the place,
Yeah.
so that like weirdos can't find you.
God. Oh, God.
Well, no, I mean, if he was in a
actually.
hotel, it's because he's at this charity match thing.
How much
Not
you guys
because
wanna
he's in America.
No, yeah. How much do you want to bet season 2 is gonna get delayed because of DNF meetup?
I mean, I feel like it's already been delayed because of DNF meetup. You know.
Oh, it's been delayed because of other things as well, but also, like, the only people who promised us lore and actually delivered on it despite the world literally gunning for them to delay it further was Sam Bucket. So.
Well, that's not true. Quackity, Wilbur, Sam.
And
And
true. Okay,
BBH.
fair, that's fair.
Everyone who's promised us lore for the most part has delivered it.
But then
We
we
just
have people
haven't
saying,
had
like,
the
it's gonna
next
be
season.
next week. It's gonna be next week. It's gonna be
I don't
next
think it's
week.
gonna be next week because I'm pretty sure. Well, I think a lot of people think that George is gonna be there next week, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm just I can't wait to start scrolling through my dash and just find 7 million pictures of Dream.
I mean, probably. The internet's already kind of freaking out over it, so.
He does half a selfie and we're already freaking out over it. Fucking blurs out his
Yeah,
own
at
face
this
and,
point
like-
it's gonna be like a nose and facial structure reveal.
Yeah. It's gonna be the whole thing put together instead of those weird amalgamation photos that people make, where they just piece together the different bits he's given
It's
us
not
from
even
different
well
photos.
pieced together. It's just like literally.
No, that's the
rough.
point. It's a horrifying monster.
He's beautiful.
You just look at the horrifying monster and you're like, oh my god, he's so hot. Oh my god. It is really funny watching people lose their minds online.
They are the best amalgamations. Oh, the pasta face.
God damn it, the pasta face. That one was used a lot. That was horrifying.
But no, okay, not to be a toxic dream stan, but oh my god, we have
Oh my God.
we have a clear ass picture of his eye.
Is that being toxic?
I don't know if it's being
Isn't that just
toxic,
being
but
a
not to
dream
be
stan?
a dream stan. But oh my
Half
god,
of, what do you mean not to be a dream stan? Half of every episode that we talk about involves
it's
Dream.
stan. Yeah.
We're almost always talking about Dream every single episode. I almost feel bad because we talk so much about Dream. I feel like we don't talk about anybody else nearly as
When we
much.
talk about other characters, it's always in relation to Dream.
Yeah, and we never talk nice about like half of them.
Dude, okay, to be honest, we don't talk nice about Dream either, but we
Ah!
no, by talk nice, I mean we criticize him and then, but we don't like say we don't try to sand him down, but also it usually ends up devolving into us fangirling and crying over him as a character, which I wouldn't say calling talk nice, right?
I mean, I feel like we're generally more positive towards
We're
him
more
than we are the
positive
other
towards him.
characters,
That's
which is
true.
good.
Okay,
nicer
actually, here's
to
something
me.
interesting that I just saw on Twitter from an hour ago from Punk Updates. Punk won't be playing on the Dream SMP for a little bit. It's just more stuff happening on the server.
Yeah, I really.
So it sounds like they're setting stuff up on the server right now for lore.
Oh, that's
mean,
so
maybe.
exciting. Yo, that's
We know
exciting.
that there's. I'm pretty sure we know that there's gonna be some map changes and stuff.
Wasn't CPK supposed to stream lore and then never did?
Maybe? I don't know.
I cry. I really, if they are if Punk really is streaming lore with Sam, I hope it doesn't get delayed because Sam's internet is just kind of, he's a robot during MCC earlier. He was just
Well, apparently he's not the only one, because I think all we've learned recently is that both of the Green D Team Q Quackity Munchie crew jerks are both having like the worst time internet-wise. Dream's been complaining about his internet not working for literal weeks. Sam has been complaining about his internet not working for months. It's just not. Yeah, this is why we don't have the Dream SMP, guys. Everyone's too busy, and then the guy that's leading
it's really bad. Cause like here it's either consistently good or consistently bad depending on where you are.
I mean, I have good internet, but
like at worst you'll cut out for like a day or something.
I mean,
unless it's like something wrong with your entire system.
It depends on. Well, in the U.S. it depends on where you live. I have a friend who lives at the end of a road up on a hill, and literally there's only one internet service provider who can reach it, and they have just the shittiest internet. So, like, it really just depends on where you are at and then what kind of service you have.
Two main places.
My sympathies to that friend.
First of all, like, there's just out in the country, in, like, the more sparsely populated rural areas, like, a lot of places like Mayo or Kerry have bad internet. Especially if you're not, like, one of the towns.
I mean,
but then also you just have, like, spots where there's just, like, no signal. Like, there's one of them up on a hill near my old school, where there was just, like, this patch, like, at a crossroads where you could just not get signal. You would have to move away.
There's exactly
and it was completely random. I'm assuming it's just, like, a space where, like, you just happened to be unlucky that you just couldn't get signal there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it really just depends on where you live at. The U.S. has a lot of different service providers, but not all of them are good. And even if they are generally good, they might be good in one place and horrible in another. It's, like, real inconsistent.
Internet roulette.
Yeah, it's just...
Rest in pieces.
It's bad. But... I mean, I guess part of it is also probably because, you know, he moved house, I think. He's in the Dream Team house, I think, by now. Which is probably also part of the problem, because they probably just installed the internet in that house. Which means it's probably going to be wildly inconsistent for a little bit until they figure it out. And even then,
it'd be
he
so
might
sad if that
not
house
be able
is
to
just
do
in
anything.
The worst internet location ever.
Apparently one thing I just learned is Wilbur said that he and Quackity might do non-canon lore since they weren't able to schedule lore together for their canon finales. So we might get some non-canonical, funky, fresh Quackbur lore for all you Quackbur freaks out there.
It's just both of them in Utah for some reason. Like, Quackity's there to do market research for Las Nevadas 2.0.
To be fair, I think it was for the best that Quackity couldn't show up for his canon finale, because it's so funny, and, like, I don't know, it fits way too well to have Wilbur's, you know, final moments. This guy who's, like, spent this entire time trying to be this big thing.
Turns out
and thinking he's like, and who defines himself by like the conflicts that he's in, to, you know, go to this final like showdown type thing, being like, oh, he'll show up, he'll want to see me off, like he'll show up, it's guaranteed, like he'll see me and he'll come running, and Quackity just doesn't show up. He never logged. It's not even that he doesn't show up, it's he doesn't even log on. He's not even paying attention, and I don't know why, but it was just so great for like Wilbur, who I think is a character that just generally thinks like weirdly high of himself at times. I don't know, it was just such an ego boost, and it fits so well with like what we find out about him and the fact that he's just some fucker from Utah. Like, it just works too well. Yeah, so I'm very happy about that. I think that was for the best, actually.
It worked out really well.
Yeah. I know, I'm trying to think of other things. Carl has talked about wanting to do Dream SMP Season 2 stuff and Tales for the SMP stuff.
We never
at
got
some
details
point.
for the SMP stuff. I'm so sad. What was the project he was working
You
on?
never,
We don't know.
you never got Space Race. Never got Tales from SMP Space Race.
Oh yeah, there was gonna be a space episode that
Oh.
Rambo helped him write or something like that, and it never happened.
Crying. Okay, I want them to sit. I don't know if I want them to or not, but I do wish that after everything's done, I want them to sit down and talk about all their plans for things that never ended up panning out. And then
Yeah, I
Susie
think it
cry
would be
about
great.
more. Like the
Yeah, I
dream.
think it would be really cool. I would love, because I know we've had like some of the Comic-Con, or not Comic-Con, the TwitchCon panels or whatever, but I really want, like, it would be such a mess, but I would love for like a Discord call with just everybody who can and wants to show up from the Dream SMP just talking about
Honestly,
season
like,
1.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, one of my hopes for this podcast is if it ever gets, like, more popular than it is now,
Get a CC on.
being able to, like, actually have one of the content creators on just to talk about their character and why they made their choices the way they did and that kind of stuff. I think that would be really fun.
One of us would have to go contact them though and reach out.
Us reach out to CCs. No, thank you. You'll have to.
That's why I say wait until it's
So
bigger.
One of us would have to
think
have the ability to actually physically put together an email or something and go ask, hey, we are doing a podcast. Do you want to like come on as a guest and we can interview you about Dream SMP stuff?
I feel like
A bunch of introverts
there's
here.
very low chances of that happening. I feel like the only person we could maybe ever convince to do that would be like Ponk.
Punk.
Or like
Yeah, because Punk has been involved in fandom stuff.
maybe like Eric or Aaron
I think
or.
I
Some of
don't
the
think Era would like being on this podcast.
Well, maybe
so
not, but
sorry,
I
Eric.
think if we were very polite, then we would do great.
I feel like we do have a better chance of getting into contact with Eric because Eric's on Tumblr.
Yeah, Eric, you might have a better chance of contacting. I don't know, I was just thinking of what CCs talk to their fans fairly regularly. Regularly? And that, to me, especially about, like, lore stuff, and, like, Eric comes to mind. Ponk is assisted or offered to help in a couple, like, Dream SMP fan projects.
Yeah, voice acting on the animation that I don't know what's happened to it.
Yeah, Aaron's, like, directly responded to people, I think, with his private account and, like, on Twitter in general.
I think we also have a decent chance of getting into contact with CPK because we know people who know CPK. You guys don't know Red? Ruby? Or I think,
Oh,
their
yeah.
name is
Oh, I mean, I
now-
know of Ruby. I just didn't know if do we have
I-
strings we can pull? Holy shit.
I don't know if yeah, I think their name is
Oh,
now
what's his
Chess.
name? What's his name? I've forgotten his name.
Animagician?
Yeah, I actually wrote a
Oh.
script for one of his videos that ended up not being made into a video because it was kind of disproven. Like, it wouldn't work with stuff that happened in canon after.
Ah.
Oh, that was a Hermitcraft thing, it was a Dream SMP.
Huh.
Yeah, so we do know, like...
That's right,
I'm
guys.
sorry for our bragging
We-
rights, but we do have some connections to CCs. It's the whole, like, X degrees
It's
apart.
almost, it's like second, like 2 or 3 degrees apart.
Yeah.
And then we also have, like, I don't know, we know Dree, he's like followed by Dream
Dre is
kind of
followed
stuff.
by Dream. Most likely person to get added by a CC over lore.
Yeah. If people are confused by that, there's currently like a poll going on Tumblr about
Hashtag Dribbler
like
Sweep. It's probably gonna be over by the time this episode gets posted. So we can't rig the poll here, but hashtag Dribbler Sweep.
Look, I'm just gonna straight up admit I mostly just voted for whoever I recognized. Because like if I'm following them, then it means I think they have good takes.
Yeah.
So it means that I'd probably choose them anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I don't follow people, but I see stuff. If I see them regularly enough on my dash, which means the people I do follow saw it and approved of it enough to reblog it onto their dash. So that means that would mean it's probably worthy information. So if I recognize the names enough, that means I've seen them often enough. Can't really say if they're like good on that specific lore front, because Finding Joy was for some reason in the Sea Skeppy poll. Which, to be fair, they've done a few things.
No. They did do some like really interesting posts on Skeppy's character.
Yeah, but you wouldn't call them a Skeppy analyzer, right?
Yeah, but like there's basically only like a tiny amount of actual analysis on his character.
That's true, but also
so like you've actually got like a really small pool.
Yeah.
And the analysis that they did was really interesting. So.
Yeah, but also there's some really weird There's some really weird nominations, because I know Rambo, the Ender Walker is a very big Sea Rambo fan, and Floral. They basically post almost exclusively about Sea Rambo and other characters, but in relation to Sea Rambo. For some reason, they're on a bunch of other character analysis poll options. So it's kinda weird. Like, I would call Cat the Minecraft box. I would call Cat a Sea Dream and Sea Awesome Dude analyzer, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a Sea Quackity analyzer, even though she's done a lot of Quackity stuff, because most of the Quackity stuff that she's done is in relation to the prison and Dream and Sam. It's never really like fully standalone, so I wouldn't. But she's on the Sea Quackity list, so.
I mean, I don't know how they decided. I'm pretty sure it was the people who ended up on that, if we're talking about that particular Dream SMP Tumblr poll that's going around right now. I'm pretty sure a lot of it was, like, other blogs decided who got elected for what. So, it wasn't necessarily the one person. Now, listen, we say editors, but there's actually a lot of Drebler people on there.
There are a lot of Drebler people.
Let's not start with the editor negatives already.
No, the only thing I will criticize them about is the fact that they
I voted for Sparrow for, character Tommy analysis.
Yeah, Sparrow 100%. But no, here's the thing though. The one thing I will criticize them for about this poll is they have Prison Tommy Visit and Prison Break, but no Prison Arc.
That just seems like they're weirdly specifying two specific events inside
that are encompassed by Prison Arc. Like, you disclaimer that they're not going to include Tiny Lord. Tommy Prison Visit was 3 streams. Are you kidding me? No, I'm sorry. Like, sure, it's important to you guys, but also, like, you might as well have included the entire arc it was placed in. But you didn't. Why didn't you do that? What do you mean the prison arc isn't big enough for you to include into the poll thing? Jesus. Nope, I'm sorry. I'm just a little salty that we couldn't vote for Cat on that one, because prison arc.
I don't know, I liked the fact that there was a good amount of, like, diversity in who you could vote for, because I'm used to those polls being very specific with, like, certain people. Like, I never see Drebler on those polls. Maybe, like, one of them. But, like, Apple was on there a couple times. Judge Hangman was on there.
Bubbles was on there, but I want Bubbles to win the earliest Lemember poll, because that would be so funny. I want Bubbles to win. He deserves it.
Yeah, Dre was on there, which is always a great choice.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, I liked the fact that it was a pretty diverse group. I wish the rules had been a little clearer, but, I mean, no harm, no foul. It's all good. I don't know. I mean, I don't pay a lot of attention to those polls because I think they're kind of just like, you know,
they're
it's just
popularity
a popularity contest.
They're popularity
and
politics contest.
So I don't really care about it, but it's always fun to see who gets, like, nominated.
Yeah, I think the reason why there's more diversity is because OP isn't excluding people they blocked, so.
Yeah, and that's always good, even though it kind of limits who can actually vote, because if you're blocked, then obviously it's going to be harder for you to, you know, get in there, but... Yeah, but I think...
Dribbler sweep. Hashtag Dribbler sweep.
Listen, no, we can't rig it. Although I think we
It's
already
not
said
gonna
that this
rig it
episode's
anyways.
up afterwards.
The vote's probably gonna be over by the time this episode comes out.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see who wins.
I
think some of the
want
options were
Dribbler to
pretty
win because I
funny.
think it'd be funny.
I mean, I think it would be funny too. Just in
No,
general.
apparently people are making coalitions, and
Yes.
someone
They're trying to shellac Quackity it.
The inherent Dream SMP fandom instinct to do politics.
Listen, actually, when you think about it, this poll has gone very Dream SMP-esque. We've got Dream
It's very
fans
political.
rigging, and I'm going to put that in quotation marks, rigging the vote with posting it to Twitter. We have coalitions being formed in a Wilbur Schlatt, Quackity-esque fashion of people siding with others that they know and telling people to all vote for one particular party.
No, wait, people have
it's-
actually, like, I think an anon on Apple's side account side blog said that they were contacted by C-Dream and C-Dream apologist aunties to form a coalition with them against someone in the polls that Dribbler was winning. So
Nice.
So
I mean, Dribbler should win, personally. I
Dribbler
think
should
that
win.
a lot of the Dribbler members who got put up are, like, the best of us.
yes.
So, yeah, no, I think it's a great choice, for any of them to be up for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they win at least a few of them.
I think
because I think
I'm pretty
they
sure
were actually
Kat's
genuinely
winning
good,
Sam,
you know.
because obviously Kat's gonna win Sam. There's no
Oh
other
boy,
better
this is something I have
Sam
not
out
seen
there.
before that I just saw. I'm just posting it in the chat.
Hey. Yeah, Kat's winning Sam. I think Sparrow was winning Tommy, but they got beat up by second place by another big internet blog, which is sad
Probably.
because Sparrow has a really good take on Tommy's.
Did you see the thing I sent?
Yes. Is it the photo of Sam's terraforming?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
has
it's
made
not
quite an
Hermitcraft level.
extensive, you know, like place. It's a lot. He's created a lot out in the
he's
middle
gone
of the...
Hermitcraft on it.
Oh, you know, like if it was Hermitcraft, it'd be like way more detailed.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like just the size is
Listen,
Hermitcraft.
Sam's trying his best with his shitty internet, okay?
I mean, with Hermitcraft, you probably have a lot more than one layer of dirt on top of the mountains, and it'd probably be extending down into the rock as well. They'd probably be using granite and like not dirt.
What, they're
and
gradients?
Stuff for texture. There'd be gradients. There'd be buildings on the terraforming as well. But like this is pretty good for someone who doesn't spend thousands of hours Minecrafting like the hermits do.
Actually, here's a question. I mean, and I think I know the answer to this. Of all the Dream SMP CCs, which one would fit in on Hermitcraft best? And which
Sam.
Hermitcraft CC would fit in on the Dream SMP best?
Oh, okay.
You know, I think Scar would actually fit in surprisingly well.
Dude, Scar
Like
is
the
just
face-
out there shooting. He's a killer.
Yeah, like
right now.
consider him in like the Third Life, Last Life, Double Life series.
Scar can be a bit unhinged.
I feel like Impulse would be a great addition into the Dream SMP, but only because he is so ready to just agree to whatever insane plan someone comes up with to do on the server.
I mean, based off what I've seen, it sounds like Pearlescent Moon would actually fit in really, really well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
From what I've seen of her with Hermitcraft and with the Double Life series. That was very Dream SMP vibe, with the way that she acted. I can see
Oh,
that
yeah.
happening.
It's 5
And I
a.m.
know
girl.
you said Sam for the Hermitcraft, and I think she'd be a good choice. Yeah, but I feel like we're skipping the obvious of Foolish.
Foolish.
Foolish has
What do
the
you mean? He's already a
same
hermit.
level same level of unhinged builder energy that all of the Hermitcrafters have.
H-bomb.
H-bomb.
H-bomb would... Oh god, H-bomb and Zetup would get along so well.
I feel like H-bomb could create some pretty chaotic situations. He could definitely get everyone. He would definitely be, like, the person who sets up a lot of, like, random games across the server. Because he already does that with the Dream SMP, and I imagine with Hermitcraft, he would just do the same thing.
And he'd make money off of it, too. Ha!
Yeah, because they'll all bet diamonds off that crap. All of them. Every single one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, those are all actually pretty... I could see all of them fitting in there. I think Foolish...
he would... I don't know if he'd fit on the Hermitcraft, but I would love to see what character Dream would do in Hermitcraft. I have an AU about it, and it's not really, like... It's not really... I have an AU of basically the Dream SMP and Hermitcraft Season 9 servers merging into one, and then Dream is just off doing Hermitcraft shit while the Dream SMP members are completely confused about what's going on. But I feel like, like, in actuality, I do wonder what it'd be like if Dream were part of Hermitcraft, because I think that'd be fun.
I
This
mean...
is my favorite character bias showing through.
You act like this podcast is the most
We act like
unbiased
this
source of
podcast is
information.
anything but biased.
This podcast is the most biased piece of like anything you could ever go into, okay? I don't know, I think character Dream would blend into the world of Hermitcraft really, really well, and considering that they only have, like, they have conflict, but, like, it's all very easily sort of resolved and peaceful after a little bit, that I don't think he would have a hard time there at all. I think he'd do fine there.
Yeah, it's one of those Saturday night cartoons where it's just like, yeah, I could have a party down in the king's private areas.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Like, it'd be being kind of like TFC, where he kind of, like, he's not doing any of, like, the big builds or anything. He's kind of just off doing his own thing around everyone else.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would just sort of vibe. Dream himself, I feel like, would get bored.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because I think building, he does know how to build, but I don't think building's really his thing. And Hermitcraft has their own brand of chaos here and there, but it's not the same, like, level of chaos and, like, dastardliness that is the Dream SMP.
Are you sure about that?
Hermitcraft, like, Chaos and Hermitcraft comes from sort of more, like, setting up sort of rules and scenarios that are kind of, like, weird.
Yeah.
And then playing through that. So, like, for instance, like, the whole, like, Mycelium War back in Season 7 is, like, got the kind of, like, wacky concept of it's just, like, between, do you want to have mushrooms, or do you want to have fungi ground, or do you want a grass ground? But then everyone sort of, like, played their roles within that, sort of.
Yeah, like, I think the Hermitcrafters are generally more chill. Like, yes, their server gets up to some antics, but, like, they're more chill about it, right? Like, but Dream is such a tryhard. I don't think he would be able to, like, vibe in the Hermitcraft space, because I don't think they put that quite level of, like, competitiveness to it. Because, like,
in Dream SMP conflicts are solved by people stabbing each other. In Hermitcraft, they're solved by playing mini games with each other.
Yeah,
I
just don't think
also be solved by stabbing each other in the
right. But like, I think
it's less popular.
Hermitcraft is more light-hearted. They don't take things as seriously. Whereas the Dream SMP, you have wars and deaths and murder and disc stealing and exile and like I think
very specifically, I do think Dream would enjoy trying out Decked Out.
Oh, I'm sure, like, some of the mini games that they have on there and shit, like, that they've all come up with, I think Dream would have a ball of a time with those. I just don't think they would hold his interest long enough.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hermitcraft is really, like, I don't know if it's about, but a lot of the people on Hermitcraft are really good at dedicating to long-term projects.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the Dream SMP...
the Dream SMP is not very good at.
The Dream SMP is just really dramatic. And I don't think Hermitcraft, like, has its moments of drama, but like not the same kind of drama. Like it's more lighthearted drama. Like you're never at the end of the day being like, oh my god, like I'm gonna fight the fans of this other content creator. Whereas the Dream SMP is just fucking unhinged.
I think that's okay. No, so I don't know, I don't interact with the fandom at all, right? But I don't think the content creators typically fight the fans of other content creators' characters or whatever. They usually fight their own fans or haters. But like, yeah, no, like, there's not much. So like, I don't know if we can say that intensity is from the Dream SMP creators or just from the fandom, because I do think there is a very big difference between Hermitcraft fans and Dream SMP fans, and it's that Hermitcraft fans typically don't start drama over something that happens in a video, usually, and if they do, the hermits will tell them off for doing that.
Well, I just think, like, in general,
the Dream SMP
like, I think the vibe of the Dream SMP versus Hermitcraft is just different, that it attracts different fans with different expectations for each series. That's why I think a lot of the times, but that's why I think like the Dream SMP fans can get very hostile and aggressive sometimes, especially when it comes to lore. Because I think that the vibe of the Dream SMP is very competitive, very conflict oriented. And Hermitcraft, the conflict is sort of like a side thing.
But not to say that Hermitcraft fans can't get toxic as well, because there have been times during the Mycelium War where people have gotten upset in comment sections and started sending hate. I wasn't.
Yeah, well, no, I think like obviously a lot of the Dream SMP fans are pretty chill, but there's also, you know, a lot of not chillness. And I think that's the same thing with the Hermitcraft. There's a lot of them who are chill, and then there is some of them who are not. And I think a lot of it is because Dream SMP is very set up around, a lot of their plot structures are very much set up around conflict between either two groups or two individuals or like one individual in a group. Like it's very like it's like content creator to content creator conflict. I think the Hermitcraft has like conflicts here and there with like the Mycelium.
Okay, so right now, season 9, Hermitcraft, we have like 7 different resistances popping up against King Ren's rule, especially after he implemented his emeralds.
Okay, but how often are you having content creators go down and, like, start having an entire monologue about how they were, you know, just trying to seize political power when they took over the country or when they made the country and they don't actually care, and how they were just want to blow it all up? Like, how, like, you don't have that level of drama in the conflict.
Yeah,
like, I think it's still...
Hermitcraft is like, Green thought it would be funny, so they did it.
Yeah.
Well, because it's ironically enough, Rian is only semi-involved in these new conflicts. Doc is like a little. Well,
I don't think they were saying like actually.
Ren is currently king.
Well, currently the whole thing is him trying not to be involved in the conflict.
Yeah, no, it's actually very funny. So he gets Scar to kill him to make him not start a resistance. It's very funny. But like the whole context for any non-Hermitcraft people after season 9 at the moment has a plot where King Ren the dog, Ren the king, he made a new account for this, has basically become king of the server, took all the diamonds, and then started redistributing them in the form of quests, but he didn't have a way to recollect diamonds, so now he is broke. And to solve his current bankruptness, he's minted his own coin called Royal Emeralds, which none of the hermits like, except for Joe, and mostly because Joe is Joe. But in this setting, Doc, who has a giant perimeter out in like the middle, out by Grian and Scar's base actually, who has a giant perimeter there, has declared independence from King Ren's rule and has thrown a book at him, declaring freedom after he saw Ren start trying to claim shops in the shopping district. Impulse, Pearl, and Gem, the soup group, have decided to start a resistance against well, not really resistance, have decided to annoy the king to abdicate from the throne, because Impulse got a prompt from prompt making machine by Green's face. Green is currently trying very hard not to start a resistance. He is only semi-failing at it. And let's see what else. And the king has currently hired a bunch of people, half of which are plotting behind his back to steal his money and power, and the other half are wholeheartedly going into it. Scar is currently under the king's behest, going around killing people who attended a party in the king's vault. This is I'm sorry to any non-Hermitcraft fan, but yeah, it's kind of chaotic right now, and I'm very excited to see what's happening. In between all the buildings and time lapses and shopping, there is actually a pretty decent amount of like player conflict going on. Because I believe in Doc's most recent video, he spent about 20 minutes fighting Scar. In a very
I feel like the
Doc.
vibes are still different.
I think like one of the big things that distinguishes them in terms of like the sort of like storyline and how people react to that is that in Dream SMP there's a far stronger disconnect between the characters and the people who play them.
Yeah. It's just...
Well, with Hermitcraft, it's a lot more casual.
It's just such a different vibe, you know?
Like, you'll have someone playing a role, but then explicitly going, like, out of character to explain the role that they're playing to the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my thing is that it's... Mechanically, it's not that different, right? Mechanically, there's people on a server, and they get into a conflict over something, and they continue through that conflict doing things like espionage, spying on meetings, sabotaging the royal quest system, inventing their own currencies, whatever. Mechanically, there's player conflict, but like aesthetically, the emotional feelings, how you aesthetically, how it looks, how it feels, how you experience it is very different, and I think that's partly because Hermitcraft has a much longer history than Dream SMP, and a lot of their fans have been fans for much longer than the Dream SMP fans have been fans of Dream SMP for, obviously, because Hermitcraft has been around longer, and so you get that feeling of, you get the feeling you get from it. Like you said, Sweet, the vibes are very different, but if you strip away everything and just look at it mechanically, they're pretty similar when it comes to conflicts and stuff.
See, I don't know enough about Hermitcraft, I guess. Yeah, no, but the... yeah, I mean, I think, like you were saying, like, I think when you look at just, like, the events that happen, like, just, you know, list, like, oh, well, you have this faction and this revolution and these people are doing this. Like, if you lay it out like that, they're very, very similar. It's just definitely, like, the vibe of it is much different. Like, Hermitcraft feels much more casual and, like, lighthearted about it. And Dream SMP just takes it very seriously and very dramatically. And like Sai said, there's much of a separation between the characters and the content creators.
I think also,
but even then, when you go back to like the beginning of the server, though, it's different too, because you go back to like the beginning of the Dream SMP server and you look at like the Disc Wars when the people aren't really playing characters as much, and you look at like Dream, because we started this off like saying, like talking about Dream being on the Hermitcraft server, and I said that I think he'd get bored of it because it's not competitive enough. Well, you look at the Dream SMP, they get into like a joking, like, you know, competition or whatever, and he digs out the entirety of Tommy's house trying to find the discs. Like that, I don't think that kind of like.
No, I could see that happening on Hermitcraft. Except like on Hermitcraft, they would like offer to help fix everything that got dug up after.
Well, on the Dream SMP, nobody helps. Sorry, Bonk.
There's a certain level of illusory there's a certain level of implied rules on the Hermitcraft that people actually follow versus the Dream SMP, where the explicit rules are very much not followed.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of one of the differences, but like digging up someone's entire base to look for something isn't that out of place for something that would happen.
Yeah,
on
like,
Hermitcraft
and
server.
going back to the mycelium where, like,
Scars
they literally
strip
use
mine
what
the
they call the
entire
TNT
shopping
mining thing to
district.
find the... Like, they're always, like, setting up TNT underneath the shopping district to find the base of the resistance.
Yeah.
Oh. I guess I am not up to date on my Hermitcraft lore. Yeah, I don't know. I still say that the vibes are different, which is why I think that
Yeah,
Dream
like I
would
said,
still
like,
get
the
bored.
difference is in Hermitcraft, they would offer to help fix it after.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's fixing the
that's the core
strip mine
difference.
underneath the shopping district on season 7, though.
Well, yeah, but that's because that doesn't really get in anyone's vibe,
Yeah.
with, like, other types of stuff.
No, there's like a certain level of chivalry in the Hermitcraft that isn't all very present on Dream SMP. Not that it's not present there at all, because Dream has helped Tubbo rebuild his house after it got burned down or something.
Yeah, there's
Like,
instances of it.
Yeah, there's like but it's much more prominent in the Hermitcraft side of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what keeps everything super chill, is that at the end of the day, if you blew up someone's house, if you got rid of their things, you also go help them out, because that's just how they roll. You help them up afterwards, you get their things back, or you make them pay 20 diamonds to get a Did You Die box.
I mean, the Dream SMP is like borderline an anarchy server, so, like, I think that just kind of sums up the difference in and of itself.
Also,
Yeah.
I think in the Hermitcraft server, the Hermits are also, despite the number of people there, they're also a lot more connected, because they don't just interact with their own little group. They tend to, like, branch out and interact with everyone else. Like, ZF usually is off doing his own thing. But...
And also they're online on a regular basis.
Yeah, that too. ZF goes and, like, gets other Hermits involved in his crazy experiments or achievement binders. And then you've got people like, I think it was Doc and Corrales and XP all just hanging out and doing shit. Like, just get together, it's spontaneous, it's unplanned. But also, I think another reason is that Hermitcraft stuff is usually in the form of videos, versus Dream SMP, which is primarily in the form of live streams. Like, Hermits do stream stuff, but it's usually they're streaming about building giant things, and then sometimes an interaction between Hermits will happen on stream, which is really cool, but primarily the big plot, quote-unquote plot things happens in video format versus stream format. Whereas
Yeah, that's
Dream
true.
SMP, primarily stream format. They don't really do videos except for... Even Quackity, who makes his entire stream of video, streams it first instead of posting it on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some, like, videos done. Like, I think H-Bomb's done some videos, but it's always those sort of, like, minigame videos.
I love H-Bomb.
Do you guys want to do question of the week now?
Oh, yeah, what?
Did we get any answers for the last one? Did we get to post it on
Did
Discord
we
again?
post the question of the week from last week?
No!
F in
I
chat!
No. No, we did not.
Do
I
you
mean, I can
remember
come
what
up
the
with a
question
new
of the week
question.
was?
No.
No, you just read the old one, because I can't really think of anything.
I have
Alright.
one. I mean, I asked it earlier in the session, now it's just asked
Oh, yeah,
other
yeah.
people. If you
I
wanted
brought-
to put... if you were gonna put a... Or, yeah, we can do the other one, which
Who
is like,
would
what
fit
do
the
you
best
think the
in the
Egg Ladies would
Hermitcraft
go
server
for,
from the
but-
Dream SMP, and who would fit the best on the Dream SMP server from the Hermitcraft server?
Yeah.
And I will say this, that we completely forgot about Bad Boy Halo as a contender for the Hermitcraft server.
That would be a specific brand of chaos I don't know what to do with.
Alright, bye.
Bye!
Bye.
Well, thanks for listening to the 65th episode of Mellohi, and we hope you enjoyed it. If there's any topic you'd like to hear us discuss, feel free to leave a comment or find us on Twitter at Mellohi Podcast, where you can also ask us questions or just get updates about new episodes. We also have a Discord server that you can find a link to in the description. See you next time!